My sister up, she ain't heavy. If I don't lift her up, if I don't lift her up, if I don't lift her up, she will fall down. Mother Nature is struggling to maintain her own health as we have chosen to neglect her. Despite our promises to keep her safe, we have chosen to forget her and assume that we'll be fine just by ourselves. And now, as we struggle to look after the mother to us all globally, we are seeing others struggle to stand tall as they carry the fall of our climate on their shoulders. In attempts to increase money and power, we are lied to and told the state of our planet is tolerable. While our climate doesn't see gender, it does push down heavier on those most vulnerable. So on this day, it is impoverished women who are the most honourable.
I hadn't really thought about why it was important to make art as a woman before. Apart from like when you look at art history and stuff, it's all men. Like there's not a lot of women in it. But then like you look around this studio, there's like 5, 6 girls, 1 boy. There's a lot of women that don't get recognised for what they do, and it's probably because they're not a man.
Solving problems like the climate crisis, we need people from all kinds of backgrounds with all different kinds of experience to solve a problem that's so multifaceted.
A huge part of the problem, I'd say, is that we have been hearing from the same voices for all this time. So we've been hearing from a lot from from white straight men, and that's fine. You know, they're part of the community. But now we need to hear from different voices. So if we keep recapitulating which voices we're hearing from, change won't come.
International Union for the Conservation of Nature states that it is women who have the knowledge and understanding of what is needed to adapt to changing environmental conditions.
I think in some regions, the people who are facing the worst impacts of the climate crisis at the moment tend to be women and children and people in more impoverished areas. They're the ones who are bearing the brunt of the crisis at the moment. And I think that's why it's important to empower them and build them up from the ground with like beneficial solutions so that they can actually feed into the debate as well and not get left behind.
Women and other minoritized groups have always been at the helm of making change, but simultaneously have been written out of history. So I think it's both women but it's also feminine qualities which can exist in all of us. So I think maybe that's the more important part, is that we all need to be doing this work, whatever gender we are.
So I think it's 2020 now, and we still have a lot of issues with female rights around the world. It's getting much better where I live, and I'm really lucky to say that I'm from somewhere that's really fighting for equality. But I think a lot of women from other parts of the world are still facing those barriers. So I think it's really important that we all club together to help everyone reach their potential in life, especially with these huge global challenges we're facing at the moment.
Perhaps even more than environmental inventions and things. I think what we actually need is a community that is that can depend on each other and that is not fighting against each other anymore, and making a community that's resilient enough to deal with whatever world we make for ourselves at the end of it. So yeah, I think hippie as it might be, I think love is probably the most important thing we can depend upon.
This probably sounds really naive, but when you look at like the past and stuff, women have been more trend-setting than men. So if you set a trend of like, oh, we're gonna sort this shit out, people will follow it, and they probably care a lot more because we have more needs, I think.
To understand our urgency as suggestions turn to demands as we command the men in power to step aside, as women refuse to stand and watch them ignore other women and children cry, all because it seems like too much of a mission to let a woman sit at the table where big boys make the decision about the world we all live in.
Seems like I've been here before. Memories tying round the hours. Tonight I float on your love. Tonight I fall through your tonight I fall through your display.